coming up, hundreds of people march for Newcastle, calling for an end to domestic violence. Plus, Hunter Airport's delegation's mission to chase flights to Singapore and a head knock concern for the night's Kalimpong. That's coming up next on NBN News. Good evening. My name's Glenn McLeod and welcome to NBN News. Tonight, hundreds of Novocastrians walk across Newcastle calling for an end to violence against women. Hunter Airport delegation's mission to chase flights right across Singapore. And there's a head knock concern for the night's Kalimpong. But first tonight, hundreds of people have marched through Newcastle calling for an end to violence against women. Among those who rallied on Saturday was Tabitha Ackret, whose daughter Mackenzie Anderson died from horrific stab wounds outside a Mayfield home in March. The young woman would have turned 22 today. And a warning, some viewers may find the details in this story confronting and disturbing. Why are we not enraged every time a woman dies? These were the words of Tabitha Ackret in front of a crowd of about 200 people who marched from Newcastle Museum to Nobby's Beach on Saturday afternoon, refusing to be quiet in the face of endemic violence. Mrs. Ackret's daughter, Mackenzie Anderson, was found lying outside her Mayfield home, having suffered horrific stab wounds on March 25. Despite the efforts of paramedics and police to save her, she died at the scene. Meanwhile, Mackenzie's former partner, who cannot be named because of legal reasons, remains before the courts, charged with the death of the young mother who would have turned 22 today. The march at the weekend, which was organised and led by the violence prevention advocacy group What Were You Wearing, was staged in memory of Mackenzie and dozens of women killed in Australia in violent incidents this year. Before Miss Ackret spoke, the assembled crowd heard a litany of names of victims before moments commemorative silence. Miss Ackret said in an emotional state that every name that was read out was somebody's daughter, and also she was somebody's sister, mother, friend. The ripple effect from the deaths of these women is huge, and we can never fill the hole of the people we have lost. But for some, the memorial march at the weekend was another in a long list of action calling for better protection and prevention of domestic and physical sexual violence. Some were survivors, others had friends and family who had survived. Some came to remember those who had lost. Meanwhile, a young woman holding a sign that read, "Whatever we wear, wherever we go, yes means yes, and no means no." She's said she remembered the chant from attending Reclaim the Night marches with her mother as a child. At the edge of the sign she had added #MeToo and a date. And of course, Miss Accurate delivered a powerful and emotional message, highlighting the adequacies of the law to prevent and the community's response to instances of violence against women, saying this: you always want to say more than you do, but there are trans women and women of colour dying. When Indigenous women die, it's hard to find information about them. All women are equal. We should be just as enraged. The rage that Mackenzie got was appropriate, but that rage should be the same for everyone. We're outraged when anything terrible happens, and we're outraged for a minute and then it goes away. Reaction is not helping us. We need prevention. I don't want reaction and punishment. I want prevention. I don't want women to have this trauma. As the crowd gathered at Nobby's, Nathan and Samantha Cordina surprised Miss Accurate with a $65,000 donation raised through Mr. Cordina's Dapto business. After learning of Mackenzie's death, Mr. and Mrs. Cordina, who had not met Miss Accurate before, staged a weekend car show to raise funds for her family. Miss Accurate said, in a really dark time in our lives, we've seen that there is so much love. Even though we've experienced something that is totally violent, bad, and horrific, the heart of life is still good. And if you or someone you know and love is a victim of domestic violence, you can contact this 1-800-RESPECT number. That's 1-800-737-732. A high-profile Hunter business and political delegation has arrived in Singapore to build trade and tourism links and progress negotiations on direct flights into the Asian transport hub. Newcastle Lord Mayor Natalia Nelms, her Port Stephens counterpart Ryan Palmer, Newcastle Airport Chief Executive Peter Cook, Airport Chairman Kirby Clark, and Business Hunter Chief Executive Bob Halls are leading the delegation, while New South Wales Trade Minister Stuart Ayres will join the Hunter Group and senior airline representatives at a reception hosted by the Australian High Commissioner to Singapore, former Tasmanian Premier William Hodgman, tonight. Meanwhile, the University of Newcastle staff have voted to take low-level industrial action over frustrations with enterprise bargaining agreement negotiations. It comes with National Territory Education Union Newcastle Branch Vice President Academic Associate Professor Terry Summers said the union and management have been negotiating for 12 months about the EBA, which expired last September. A young girl has suffered significant lacerations to her face after she was kicked in the head by a horse in the Upper Hunter on Saturday. Emergency services were called to a property at Marundi at about 1:30 p.m. after reports a child had been seriously injured in a horse accident. New South Wales ambulance paramedics and the Westpac rescue helicopter were called to the scene, where medics treated a girl described as being in a serious but stable condition. The young girl had taken a kick to the head from a horse on the property and, according to New South Wales ambulance reports, had suffered significant head injuries during the incident. Meanwhile, yesterday, the girl remained in a serious but stable condition. The 9th Hunter record fair, the first since the pandemic, has been hailed a huge success, bringing together customers and collectors of all ages. Organizer Dan Phelan said around 500 people visited Katawa High School on Saturday to dig through tens and thousands of records, CDs, rarities, and bargains at the first fair since 2019. Newcastle playwright Vanessa Bates was born in Australia with a father, an Australian man, who was in our country's air force, and her mother, a woman who had been born in the Philippines. And when she was a child, her father's Air Force team was transferred to Penang in Malaysia. So she spent her initial school years in that country and saw many of its theatre shows. And her sister was born there. They returned to Australia in her childhood. But her father was They returned to Australia in her childhood, but her father was soon sent to Malaysia again, and she was in a Penang high school for 3 years before they came back here and lived in a home in Raymond Terrace, as her father was based at Williamtown. So it is not surprising that she has written a play, The One, which is a family comedy drama with Eurasian characters. The One was commissioned by Sydney's Ensemble Theatre for its 2022 season and is now having previews at the company's Kirribilli venue before beginning its official season on July 28, which runs until August 27. And many of its performances have been sold out. More than 12,000 square bales of lucerne hay were dropped to stranded cattle during this month's flood in the Hunter, thanks to a team of workers dedicated to animal welfare. Helicopter, affectionately known by locals as the Hay Helicopter, made 42 drops across the lower Hunter, including to areas such as Gilliston Heights, Miller's Forest, and Hinton. Singleton Arts and Cultural Centre has been allocated $448,600 under the New South Wales Government's Creative Capital Program to support the centre's digital activision. Following construction of the centre in partnership with Singleton Council, the latest contribution takes the government's investment in the facility to $3.2 million. Council's acting director and of organisation and community capacity, Sean Britton, said the money would put the finishing touches on an already impressive facility and enable the space to provide a dynamic program of events, including virtual reality technology, projectors, and movable walls. The project will be completed in 2 stages in May 2023. Well, to say that Kate Miller-Heidke's Newcastle concert ended on a high note at the weekend would be, even if literal, somewhat of an understatement. Miller-Heidke's voice defies gravity. The award-winning singer-songwriter delivered a trademark showcase of her astonishing technical range to a sold-out crowd at Newcastle's City Hall on Saturday night. Still on the music, and of course, with Elton John arriving at the McDonald Jones Stadium next year as part of his farewell tour, it's of course exciting for all of us fans of his. And because of that, it's becoming well-known huge. But also, it'll be the first concert they'll be held right up at McDonald Jones Stadium in almost about a few years. It'll be the first time that there'll be a concert up at the McDonald Jones Stadium since the 1990s. The Hunter Sam Kerr has earned another place in history, becoming the first female footballer on the cover of the global edition of the massively popular FIFA video game franchise. Kerr will feature on the latest cover alongside World Cup winning Paris Saint-Germain striker Kylian Mbappe. The Malin Regional Art Gallery is hosting a 90-minute social tour of exhibitions created for people living with dementia and their carers who have to be guided by a trained facilitator. And of course, there are 2 sessions this Tuesday and Thursday. Sports up next with the NRL, as controversy surrounds over the bunker blunder. Plus, we'll have the Knights with injuries to Callum Ponga, as well as for Lachlan Fitzgibbon following the loss to the Roosters, and also a huge win for their Jersey Flag Cup side.
I'm going to buy that.
Into big business now, are we?
Nope, I'm quite happy with the small business I own, Louise.
Who are you banking with now, Bob?
Newcastle Permanent.
No, I know. I mean, your company banking.
Yeah, we're with the firm.
Didn't know they did business banking.
Well, I have done for quite some time now, Dad.
Oh, good move.
That's mine. Thank you.
Your business is in good hands with Newcastle Permanent.
They're our building society.
In a world where everything appears to be built the same, comes a range of cars built with a difference. Built to be the ultimate in drivability and spaciousness. Cars that not only look better, but have the body armor that lasts. And every detail is checked to ensure they're as reliable as they are durable. What you see are the new Hyundais. And you thought we were just a small car company. Hyundai. Take another look. Take another look.
Wake up in the morning, gotta get the gotta get my paper, 'cause the Herald is the best way to start your day.
to the NRL, and the fans of the West Tigers have been left fuming after they were denied the upset of the season when a last-minute penalty cruelled them of victory against North Queensland and Townsville in controversial circumstances on Sunday. The Tigers were clinching to a 26-25 lead after a 79th minute try by Stafford Tor that left the Cowboys with the kickoff and 1 second on the clock. Meanwhile, Tigers fullback Dan Laurie fielded the kickoff cleanly, only for the Cowboys to appeal that the chases had been obstructed. Meanwhile, the video referee Bunker upheld their challenge and Valentine Holmes kicked the ensuing penalty to seal the 2 points. And because of that, the 27-26 escape lifted his team to rise second on the ladder. The heartbroken Tigers remain in last spot. Because of that, the Tigers have officially sued the NRL, claiming that they've also filed a lawsuit against the referee, claiming that the Bunker got it all wrong. Meanwhile, Canterbury had put on a show for prospective coach Cameron Ciraldo in a 36-26 win over the Gold Coast Titans, but also promises to intensify pressure onto their boss, Justin Holbrook. Speculation premiership winning Penrith assistant Ciraldo could join the Bulldogs came to a head this week when he was photographed lunching with a club sponsor. Meanwhile, the Titans don't have enough players left, and because of that, they've sacked one of their players due to an incident. Meanwhile, Titans captain Tino Fasumalia was met with a chorus of boos every time he touched the ball. Cronulla forward Dale Fenokay could miss as many as 3 games for making dangerous contact with Stephen Crichton, despite escaping on-field sanction for his hit on the Penrith centre in his side's win over Cronulla. Finucane contacted Crichton's head as he attempted a tackle, which is now known as a car crash tackle. The career of Knights player Callum Ponga for this year is all but over after it follows another head knock following their loss to the Sydney Roosters on Friday. But also, because of that, Knights legend Andrew Johns told the NOL Sunday Footy Show that Ponga needs to be given the rest of the season out. And because of that, John said this, that he doesn't think that Callan will play again this year. Problems continue to grow at the Knights, despite them dropping from 13th to 14th on the ladder. The loss of back rower Lachlan Fitzgibbon to a likely serious shoulder injury has added into what Knights coach Adam O'Brien has described as a really tough season. Fitzgibbon left the field clutching his right shoulder 52 minutes into the loss on Friday. It's the same shoulder that required a reconstruction before the 2021 season and a clean out later in the year. Still in the NRL, and of course Melbourne's miserable run has has been so bad that even three-time premiership winning coach Craig Bellamy says he's not got faith that their season can be salvaged. Bellamy has turned the blowtorch back onto his players after they suffered their fourth straight loss of the season, describing the club as being at a crossroad and saying that it was up to his squad to determine if they finished the year with a whimper. Because of that, the Storm suffering a massive loss to South Sydney, 24-12. Up next, the Knights Jersey Flag Cup side moves into second spot after a victory over St George Illawarra.
I'm going to buy that.
Into big business now, are we?
Nope, I'm quite happy with the small business I own, Louise.
Who are you banking with now, Bob?
Newcastle Permanent.
No, I know. I mean your company banking.
Yeah, we're with the firm.
Didn't know they did business banking.
Well, they have done for quite some time now, Dad.
Oh, good move.
That's mine. Thank you.
Your business is in good hands with Newcastle Permanent.
They're our building society.
Wake up in the morning, gotta get because the Herald is the best way to start your day.
To soccer and Ukraine international Alexander Zinchenko has joined Arsenal on a long-term deal from Premier League champions Manchester City. Financial details were not disclosed by the two clubs, but Arsenal will reportedly pay $30 million up front, with $2 million to add odds for the 25-year-old defender. Aston Villa have spoiled Manchester United's perfect pre-season tour of the Asia Pacific after snatching a late equaliser and securing a deserving 2-2 draw on Saturday. Well, if the Lions listen to all of us, you cannot win remains, it still is. And of course, those were the words for the Newcastle Knights Jersey Flag Cup following. Those were the words for the Newcastle Knights Jersey Flag Cup side following their incredible 24-16 win over the St George Illawarra Dragons on Friday. It was fantastic for Newcastle, who were just too good for their rivals right throughout the game. And of course, Newcastle have the bye next, and because of that, Newcastle have the bye in the round of 20, and also they'll return in round 21. And also, both Newcastle and St George Illawarra took turns into scoring tries. Newcastle and St George Illawarra took turns into scoring tries and kicking goals as into the much perfect position came. And of course, Newcastle were just way too perfect as the Knights moved to second on the ladder, their finals hopes alive, as well as their season. And also, it's since become huge for Newcastle as well, with their Jersey Flag Cup side reviving its finals hopes, thanks to a spectacular round 19 win full of tries. Return to the real NRL, and it's the Newcastle Rugby League, and Macquarie have rebounded from last weekend's loss to join opponents Souths in equal fourth as they eye off a top 3 finish this year's Newcastle Rugby League season. The Scorpions travel to meet West at Harker Oval on Tuesday night. Another catch-up game from a rain-affected campaign, and can pull level with Cessnock if they claim the 2 competition points. It comes after the hosts accounted for Souths 28-18 at Lower Peacock Field on Saturday, following a 30-16 defeat to now second-placed Central. Storm Soccer and in the Hunters NPL men's competition, and Newcastle Olympic have moved into the top 5, and Charlestown has moved clear at the top as well with 3-0 home wins on Sunday in round 20 of the NPL. Meanwhile, at Lyle Carr Oval, Azuri bounced back from their first league loss of the season 4-2 to Edgeworth to down the Bears and rise to 32 points, 3 clear of Maitland, who had the bye. Meanwhile, Charlestown moved former Jets defender Taylor Regan forward and striker Riley Smith back into midfield roles, and the changes paid dividends in the first half as Azuri led 2-0. In the Hunters Women's Premier League, Newcastle Olympic defeated Maitland 2-1 at Cook's Square Park. While in the other games, Broadmeadow secured a win over Charlestown. Also, Warners Bay were too good for Mid Coast 8-0 at John Street Oval, while Adamstown defeated Newlampton on Saturday. To Hunter Rugby, and Merweather may have inflicted a second spirit-sapping defeat of the Wanderers, but Greens coach Jamie Lyne expects the Two Blues to be there at the pointy end of the Hunter Rugby Union season, despite a mounting injury toll and having a play catch-up. A runaway Sam Ross try, 4 penalties from the boot of Sam Bright, and resolute defence propelled the Greens to a 19-7 win over the Wanderers on a soggy Townsend Oval on Saturday. It's a good thing that Merweather does, and it's certainly what they had to do. They had to defeat the Wanderers, or the Two Blues as they're known for. And because of that, Merweather quickly gave them a stunning. Merweather stunned them with a huge 19-7 victory right up at Townsend Oval, which of course occurred on Saturday. It was soggy, but however, the locals didn't mind it and didn't even care, though.
So unable to find touch. I think you might have thought it might be full time there, and that's a penalty to the Greens. Not releasing. 4 penalties were given
to Merweather right throughout the match.
And the flags go up again.
Merweather won 19-7. Meanwhile, in ice hockey, things were not good for the Newcastle North Stars as they went down to the Canberra Brave up in the nation's capital. Not once, but twice in the doubleheader. The North Stars are back home at the Hunter Ice Skating Stadium this Saturday against the Sydney Ice Dogs. And then in local hockey, North secured a huge win over West. Meanwhile, Gosford secured a 3-0 win over Maitland, Also, the Newcastle Women's Premier League, Oxford defeated the Tigers 3-0. Meanwhile, Gosford and Regals joined the Tigers after accounting for Souths and University, while on Saturday's other result, Central beat the last place Norway Head 3-0. Still in Rugby League, and in round 12 of the Hunter Valley's Group 21 competition, Denman has secured a win over Greta Brankston 22-18, while Muswellbrook has defeated Aberdeen 44-28, while Scone has secured their biggest ever win over Singleton 62-0. To local netball, and Nova Thunder has produced a dominant fourth quarter at the Newcastle Championship netball at the National Park on Saturday to beat West League's Balance and consolidate third place with finals looming. The Thunder outscored the fourth place side by 9 goals in the final period to win 50-42 in their round 12 clash, then earned a much easier 3 points on Sunday when BNC forfeited their rescheduled round 3 encounter. It left Nova on 31 points, 2 behind Souths and University of Newcastle, and 6 ahead of West. Meanwhile, the Lions beat Junction Stella 75-24 on Sunday, then won by forfeit against the Tigers on Sunday. University was 65-20 winners over Katawa South on Saturday, then down West 50-39 on Sunday. Meanwhile, Inner Glow beat BNC 51-16 on Saturday, but lost 60-43 to Junction Stella on Sunday. To AFL, Hunter Central Coast and Telgor Avoca have turned the tables on to their local rivals, Killarney Vale, handing the Black Diamond Cup leaders their first defeat this season over the weekend. At a boggy Adelaide Street Oval, the second-placed Panthers managed to beat the Bombers despite not scoring a goal in the third and fourth quarters. Meanwhile, there were also other games as well. Fifth-place Warners Bay managed to secure a win over Maitland. And of course, Cardiff had the bye. Still on the AFL Hunter Central Coast, and in round 14 of the women's competition, Newcastle City defeated Singleton 64-0, while Cardiff defeated Wyong Lakes 55-27, and Killarney Vale defeated Telgor Avoca 49-10, and Warners Bay had the bye. There was bad news for the Newcastle Falcons men. They've slipped to third after they went down to the Central Coast Crusaders in Terrigal on Saturday. But there were good news for the Newcastle Falcons women as they defeated their Central Coast Crusaders women with a huge win.
There's McLean to follow. Munga lets it go with a 3-point bomb from the top of the key. Cuts the lead to 18 as Munga is guarded by Miller up top. Kate Kingham launches for 3. Kate Kingham. Oh, just beautiful looking shot. Matthews tries to find the crossover. Gets Whitwer. Fitzgerald for 3. Kyla! Oh, hello to Fernandez. Aura. Fernandez Aura inside to Kingham with the left hand. Oh, beautiful lay-in by Kate Kingham. The left wing into Foy, who's come back on. Foy with a beautiful post move, left hand, puts it in through her legs. As we see the bench come on for the Falcons. Great pass in there from Kingham. And that into Crossum. Taylor Thomas for 3. No good. Ralph. And they'll dribble it out And a comprehensive performance by the visitors, Newcastle Falcons.
And also, it was amazing for the Maitland Mustangs as they took down Albury Wodonga with a huge
amongst
victory.
a couple of defenders to land the 2 points. Watson. Milburn. Underneath the back-to-back buckets for Daniel Milburn. The ability to score and score quickly. The Southern Vale Homes Bandits. Cranston Lowndes been outstanding tonight. And that sums up his display.
He's been dishing them off. This time gets the finish.
Tinkerak for 3. Then gets it. They're still alive, but every time you think they're dead, the home team responds with a big bucket. Good. He's had a really good night, Saunders. 29 points, leads all scorers now. Final play of the game, 7 points the margin. Carter loses it. It's where we will end at 87-94. It's been a good game of NBL 1.
Yeah, just two amazing wins from from the NBL basketball teams from Newcastle and the Hunter, the men's and women's. Of course, the Hunter Wildfires have missed out on a maiden piece of silverware, but they remain in control of their Shield finals hopes. Abel without a key component. Randwick replacement prop Ben Higgins crashed over from close range in the 78th minute to snatch the Galloping Greens a 1-point win over the home side at the number 2 sports ground on Saturday. Meanwhile, the Wildfires women had a 10-all draw against Gordon in the Jack Scott Cup at the number 5 National Park on Saturday. The draw keeps the Hunter in 4th in the Sydney Women's Premier Rugby Union, with only 2 games remaining. Finally to racing, and of course, gun hunter apprentice Dylan Gibbons has his 200th career winner in his sights at Scone tonight, and believes his first starter cargo could be the one to get him over the line. The 20-year-old had a winning double at Gosford on Saturday to take him to 113 for the 2021-22 campaign and 199 in his burgeoning career with a week to go in just his second season of race riding. The Thornton-based Hope has 5 rides on the 7-race Scone program, then plenty more opportunities at Taree tomorrow, Wyong on Thursday, Coomera Grange on Saturday, and Muswellbrook on Sunday to add to his season tally. The weather for the Hunter as well as Newcastle is coming up next.
I'm going to buy that.
Into big business now, are we?
Nope. I'm quite happy with the small business I own, Louise.
Who are you banking with now, Bob?
Newcastle Permanent.
No, I mean your company banking.
Yeah, we're with the firm.
Didn't know they did business banking?
Well, they have done for quite some time now, Dad.
Oh, good move.
That's mine. Thank you.
Your business is in good hands with Newcastle Permanent.
They're our building society.
Wake up in the morning, gotta get because the Herald is the best way to start your day.
to the weather now, and it was alright for Newcastle as well as the upper Hunter. And also the lower Hunter was also onto its mind as well. There is a minimum of 8 degrees for tomorrow as well as a maximum of 2. It will be a shower of 2. It could be a 70% chance of a high chance of a shower, most likely in the morning and afternoon. And it's partly cloudy. It'll be 20 to 8 degrees for Newcastle, 19 to 7 for Toronto, and 19 to 8 for Wallsend. Now to the Hunter, it'll be partly cloudy, but there'll be a 70% high chance of showers for tomorrow, most likely in the morning. The chance is of a thunderstorm about the lower Hunter in the morning and afternoon. There is 8 to 20 for Newcastle, 7 to 19 for Maitland, 8 to 18 for Singleton, 9 to 19 for Gosford, and 8 to 17 for Skye. Coastal waters for tomorrow. There's north to northwesterlies, winds of up to 15 to 20 knots, tending west to northwesterly 20 to 25 knots in the late morning. The seas are around 1 metre, increasing to 1 to 1.5 metres at around midday. The swell was at easily 2 metres. There are 2 high tides. The one is at 6:56 in the morning, the other is at 6:56 at night. There were 2 low tides for tomorrow. There's one at 12:15 and the other at 1:08 in the morning. And of course, the sun's getting up at 6:48, setting at 5:10. And the outlook for Newcastle, it could be alright. We're experiencing a few showers for a bit of a 70% chance tomorrow, and also possible rainfall up to 2 to 4 millimeters. It will be alright for Newcastle, Toronto, and Wallsend. It will be alright for the Hunter as well, with a high chance of showers, as well as for the Central Coast. It will be alright for Gosford, 9 to 19 degrees, and the entrance 13 to 17. And that's about it for this Monday, and don't forget, from all of us here for now, good night.